I'm a black man trying not to get caught. I'm just trying to solve the puzzle like a jigsaw. You know it's a big world, so easy to get lost. I'm just trying to solve the puzzle like a jigsaw.
All right, well, we are here, and Issa Rae's Insecure is back. And
it is back.
And it's bittersweet because it's back, but then it's only back for what, 10 episodes, we believe. We don't know how long it's going to be.
Give or take. Now, she did give us 41 minutes today.
She did. Yeah, and I looked at an interview recently, and she said they can give, HBO allows them to have flexibility with the first episode and the last episode. So the premiere.
Premiere, got it.
But she said all the episodes in the middle, they have to be like 25 minutes or something like that. Like it's a hard stop based on the contracts and all that kind of stuff.
But before we get into what we just watched tonight, can we get into what we experienced tonight?
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this and you were not in the room, Bryan and I rushed home.
We did
to watch season 5, episode 1 because we were with the puzzle pieces tonight.
We were with the puzzle pieces. Shout out to the puzzle pieces.
Shout out to the puzzle pieces, and we had a good time. We were elevated.
Sometimes
the higher you are, the closer you are to God.
Right.
So we can
so
hear a bit
high.
more clear. Ooh,
shoes are scraping the sky.
So high, walking on cloud nine. You got me up so high.
That's a good one.
My
That's
shoes
churchy.
are scraping the sky. Maybe later we can go
to the moon. That's a good one.
Yes.
So sail among the stars
before the night is through. Yes. And when morning comes, we'll see the sun's not so far. Here it is, Bryan, his revelation. And we can't get much closer to God than where we are. So we'll go to a place only lovers go.
Yes.
To a spot that we'll never know. To the top of the clouds we'll float. Sing away, yeah. And it feels so crazy.
And
this love is blazing. And baby, we're so high. Walking on cloud nine. Walking on cloud nine.
You got me up so high.
So high. So high. So high. Yeah, Bryan. Yeah.
He goes in.
But no, for real though. We and Bryan on a natural high.
Yeah.
Y'all came and gave us great love, great energy. It was just amazing. So this lets us know that we actually can't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Y'all encourage us that me and Bryan got to get in the same room together. We got to sit down beside each other and just make these cameras on. Put these cameras on. Y'all see these beautiful black men.
Beautiful black men. Look at us.
Look at us. Curls popping, skin popping.
Just melanin.
You look good, brother.
You do too, brother. I appreciate you.
I appreciate it.
We're a good looking, the best looking podcast there is.
Best looking podcast, the finest niggas in podcasting
history.
Podcast history. But no, we appreciate y'all. But let's let's get into the season 5 of it all.
Oh yes.
So Bryan,
spoiler alert, but it's been
okay.
By the time you listen to this, it should have been how many days?
Yeah, by the time you listen to this, if you're an Insecure fan, you should have listened to it. But we'll try to put the time frame in the description box this week of when this moment in the podcast will come. Because if you ain't watched, it's your fault. We only giving you grace this 1 week. Episodes 2 through 10. If we talk about it, it'll probably be in the billboard.
Yeah.
But if we talk about it again, you would not be so lucky to get a spoiler. But anyway, Bryan. So it seems as if they start off going to Stanford like a homecoming, alumni.
Yeah, homecoming.
It seems like Black alumni weekend because we didn't see a white person in sight.
Nah, at first it didn't seem to be like any white people, and then all of a sudden they started sprinkling it in there, and then they did like this. They had like, it was an alumni weekend, but they had like 10-year, 15-year, 20. It was like something like that. Yeah, but there wasn't any blacks and any whites in there at one point.
Not at one point, and maybe at PWIs, maybe the black delegation gets together and does that. I wouldn't know because I didn't go to a PWI. And Bryan was, my brother was a non-traditional student.
Yeah,
so
I was a non-traditional student, so I didn't engage in
he ain't hit the 10, 15, 20 year mark yet. But yeah, so I don't know what that looks like. But anyway, they're navigating Stanford, right? And what this looks like, and they're reminiscing, and you can see that Issa and Molly are having these tension points.
Yeah, it's awkward
after reconciliation because in this episode they still did not reveal what that dinner conversation was.
No, they didn't reveal the dinner conversation. They didn't really reveal as if they are. Okay, so I'm gonna go back. Go for it. So not Tiffany. What's her name? Nikki.
Who?
Yeah, Nikki had a conversation with
Nikki. Who is
Molly.
Nikki?
Not Nikki. What is her name?
Kelly.
I'm tripping. High and lifted up. So Kelly had a conversation with Molly, and Molly was like, when does it get like back to normal? And Kelly was like, me and Tiffany had our falling outs, and it took a while for us to get back to normal. Like
she said, it was fake normal for a long time.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of, again, we don't know what that conversation at the Chinese restaurant was, or the Thai food, or whatever place it was. We don't know, and part of me doesn't feel like they probably apologize to one another, but it doesn't feel like they are in the clear yet.
Yeah, but I think think about in your marriage, right? Like, even though it's different, after you settle the argument, that first few hours ain't back to loving each other.
Oh, yeah, not at all.
Yeah, you just got to a place where you settled the disagreement.
Yeah,
you haven't got back to whatever your normal was.
In most cases, you're still mad.
You've just mature enough now to talk about it.
Yep.
I think it's what Issa and Molly are. Like, they've reconciled, but because their history is long, but their beef and their tension was thick.
Oh yeah.
So it's going to take a lot of time. Well, maybe not though, because we see at the end at the end of this episode, the tide shifts. Like, after they had the little fake robbery, I think that was a moment for them to kind of realize, right?
We still love each other. We miss each other. But I still, again, I hate that we don't know what happened at that dinner table. Because in my mind, I feel like they haven't really addressed the situation. I want to see that on camera. I want to see them have a heart-to-heart conversation and break down all of the foolishness. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of this is how I felt. When you did this, this is how I felt. When your life transitioned from this to that, Issa, I felt left out. When I felt like you were hanging out with Condola more than me, I felt like I did not know where I stood in your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think those mature conversations I want to see on camera. I think somebody said it at the event tonight. Like, we want to see those conversations. We want to see the mature conversations. We want to see Black folks being mature and having those good conversations. That's just, my goal for this season.
Exactly. And I feel like while we don't know, I feel like it is implied, number one, that they had it. Number two, like, in the previews of the next episodes, we see them reference, I think, as Molly in the previews was like, life got hard. We were trying to figure out, like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like they've talked about it. If they haven't talked about it, it's definitely going to come up again in some type of reference of what they got going on. But did you not catch, Bryan, how, and I don't want to trivialize mental health, and neither do I want to sit in a seat of understanding postpartum depression. But do we understand, like, do we see how kind of Tiffany's just automatically bounce back?
Yeah, and again, they didn't address it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they addressed it like a roundabout way, like when they were having that conversation at the dinner table. Yeah, and he was like, he had a rough time, but like, no, you didn't address you. Yeah, like, address the fact of, like, and I hope, I know we don't have so many seasons, so many minutes in the show. I want them to, like, just talk about some of this stuff, like the stuff that, that happened last season that was major, And I
Yeah.
think those are things that people our age, millennials, go through postpartum depression. I'm pretty sure we know plenty of women who have had children had some type of postpartum depression,
Yeah, for
or
sure.
and I think those are conversations that need to be had, like to for even for to understand like, hey sis, I understand it, and even with men, like you were married to somebody who has had postpartum. Not you, I'm talking about you personally, but I think
Mhm.
men need to hear those conversations about how did men handle or navigate those real life situations. So I was off topic, but on topic, I guess.
No. It's real because I think while women definitely bear the brunt of postpartum depression, I think men also one have to deal with supporting your wife or your co-parent, whatever the situation is, right? And then I think on another side of that is that we discount the ability for men to go to a certain level of postpartum too.
Mm-hmm.
Because my life, because especially if I'm an active father, husband, my life has effectively changed as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
physically, I can't even begin to compare the things that I went through physically and even emotionally. Wow, because of the physical changes and the physical bearing of a child. But what I can say is that my life in essence has changed, especially if I'm looking at it from my perspective as a father, Brian, and your
Mm-hmm.
perspective as a father, right? It's like I can't sleep when I want to. I can't
Mm-hmm.
move when I want to. I can't even spend money in the same way. So I can't do anything in any way. And then I think for Derek and them to say that we didn't even want this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Babies
Yep.
was 2 years down the line for us.
Yeah, and that
Like
was
this
that was a
is
good point. Yep.
yeah, this is not even anything that we want. And I think that speaks to a greater issue, especially within the black community, is that we don't often plan our babies.
Oh, good. Great point. I can.
Especially even in marriages, we don't plan. I know. I think me and Asher are the anomaly in terms of Jaden because we all know Josh wasn't playing. But we sat down and had a conversation, right? And was like, we think it's time to have another baby. We're young. We don't want our kids to be too far in age. Let's try.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of black couples don't have those conversations. We
Oh yeah,
just
no.
we just be out here having sex.
Having sex,
We
right?
just
Oh
be shooting up clubs and nutting in people and and hoping for the best
yeah. Mm-hmm.
or the
Yeah.
worst.
Listen.
We just be out here hoping, right?
Listen.
And I think that
Hoping
was
and
a
wishing
real
and
point
praying.
in terms of Derek's perspective. Like this wasn't playing, and now we're here, and now my wife is going through, and now I feel alone because
Yeah.
I don't think we dealt with the fact that he felt by himself too because he had
Mm-hmm.
to be a good husband and a good
Mm-hmm.
father and
Mm.
while not having support for what
Mm-hmm.
he was going through emotionally. Because who was he
Yeah.
going to depend on? Lawrence?
Oh yeah, no, not at all. And yeah,
Chad?
right. But think about this though. Like when they showed the reunion, he was the only man there. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
he like so within that, like who is his outlet? Who is his
And and
support? And at
and
this point,
and no, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, so who does he go to?
Nobody. But I think one thing that showed us, which is beautiful as well, is that like Derek was there from the beginning. Like Lawrence wasn't. He may be Issa's starting point in terms of the show,
Mm-hmm.
but Derek is the starting point in terms of men in their lives
Mm-hmm.
because they all went to school together.
Right.
So we still don't quite know where Lawrence met Issa, but it was clearly after college.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because he wasn't at Stanford.
No, because he went to Georgetown.
Mm-hmm. Chad
Uh
and Lawrence were obviously friends, so that's that connection.
mm-hmm.
And that's really the friend group right there. That's the friend
Right.
group.
Right. So I guess within that, I
But I guess at that
wonder.
point, Derek didn't have. I mean, and we didn't see any of Derek's male friends pop up.
Mm-hmm.
So who? So your point? Who is his support?
Right. Who does he go to? Who does he go to when he needs
Mm-hmm.
something? Who does he? Well, and mind you, like he had to. And the thing people don't understand is when you have like a spouse that's going through like mental stress and anxiety, like you have to, be there. But then in the same time, you could be going through mental stress and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
But as the man, in most cases, if you are, you some type of man to where you like feel like your family is most important to you, like it's you're worried about their mental health and you're worried about yours. You can be on the brink of breakdown. So then in that case, like
Yeah.
who do you go to if you don't have any friends other than of course therapy? We do believe in that being a thing. But like who does he go to? How does he handle it? And it's just I don't know. I found that to be something that was uh, enlightening in terms of seeing him like that.
No, for sure. And who would think we would be talking about Derek this much?
Right. And the weird thing is like he's not even like a main character in terms of like no
He was
storyline. There's
definitely had
no
he's definitely had like a Chad type of experience in terms of the show.
yeah, there's no storyline, but within the small nuances and subtleties of his character, he and on top of that, his wife is extra.
And I
She's
will say that he had a big focus this episode. And
yes,
maybe that was
yes,
Issa's point to show the other side of that, right? Like it's not just Tiffany; it's
right,
also Derek, right?
right. And he has a past. He has a history. He is a person. He's a character.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He has depth, and I think it would be kind of cool. And I don't think they did this, but I think it was kind of cool that they went back and then gave us a little more context in the relationship group.
About how to because I'm about to say I hope that this episode is filled with points. Like I don't know if they're gonna give us a full origin story of all of them, but I hope it's filled with points of taking us back to learn. Because like any good show, they started us in the middle of their lives.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be great to see, because now that we know so much about these characters, it would be great to see like where they began, so now we know how this friend group formed and how there was possibly another woman in this friend group.
Yeah.
Who turns out to be real shiesty in this episode.
Shady.
She set them up for the kill.
Right. And for fun, she's not doing well in her life. But she came off as if she was doing well. Like
clearly she's not
doing. But going back to the fact of putting context to characters, I liked how Issa's younger self appeared.
Oh, with the braces and all.
Yes, and kind of knowing that at one point Issa wanted to be an attorney and start a firm with Molly, and Molly went on and finished and pursued her. It went on to do it, and then Issa just doesn't know where she wants to be, and that was so great. That was just a great kind of, even though they do like a flashback, but kind of talking about that. Which again kind of adds additional fuel to what we've been talking about recently, like where how Issa just loved Molly so much, because now we know that Molly pursued her goals.
Yep.
And is successful in the field where Issa at one point wanted to do that. Well, to John Campbell's point, shouts out to you, who's at the event tonight. He said he loved Molly, and the main reason why he loved Molly was because she was career driven. Which shows that clearly Issa and Molly were on the same path, same school, but somewhere Issa fell off the path. And then she even said in this episode, she doesn't know where she's going. She doesn't know if she's on the right path, which I think is one of the lines that resonated with me the most.
Bro, that's so fair, because even in these big grown 30 ages, I still like, while I think I've talked on this podcast plenty of times about how I was in terrible jobs and now I'm at this great job. But I feel, so as much as I love my job, and I'm going to stop saying the company name on here because I don't know who's listening, as the Lord continues to elevate us. If you want to find out, go listen to old episodes. Right. But as I'm in this current job, in this current role, and I love my work, some days I still question, like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, is this my lane?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And as the podcast advances, is this the lane, or is this a side hustle? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think, and it's so beautiful because it was brought up tonight, and me and Bryan looked at each other, was like, because somebody said it's all about figuring life out. Me and Bryan looked at each other like, nigga, that's the Jigsaw. That's what that's what literally what our podcast is about. Yeah. It's about figuring life out. Like all of our discussions, as silly as they may seem, is about how we figure out life. And I think the beauty of our show and Insecure and how we relate and all the things is that we're still like Bryan, and I know we joke about age a lot, but Bryan is a whole 4 years older than me. So for him to sit and say at almost 40 or close to 40, I ain't gonna say almost 40, closer to 49, to say I'm still figuring it out. And me at 32 saying I'm still figuring it out, right? And then just to think about some of the differences that we have in terms of degrees and things like that. I got 3 degrees and I'm still figuring it out. Bryan, you know what I'm saying? Bryan has lived more life than me and still figuring it out. Like been married longer than me and still figuring it out. So I think it really doesn't matter where you are in life. I think if you are committed to growth and development, there's always a piece of you that's trying to figure it out, because there's a piece of you that wanted to know what's next. That's wanting to know, how can I be better, or how can I evolve, or is this the thing? So I think even if we get to the moment of evolution where we decide that this is my space, I think if you're a person committed to growth and development, then you also want to know, if this is my space, how can I be better in this space? How can I advance this space? Right. So it's just always continuous question of what's next. And I think Issa is in that space, but I want to say she's internalizing it negatively. And she's not looking at it as growth. She's looking at it as, I haven't made it. And I think Molly does something beautiful when they're walking on Stanford's campus and say, girl, you own your own business. Like, look at, like, she brought her to the carpet and said, girl, look at you.
Right. You own this whole
and she even backed up and said, I don't even own my own. Like, and I'm mistaken if correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Molly was like, I don't even own my own business. Girl, you own your own business.
Yeah. You're a CEO.
You're a CEO.
Right. And I would agree with that. I think, again, the title, Insecure, that's pretty much what Issa is. She's just insecure about the fact that she's of course this awkward Black girl, but now even when things are doing well, she's insecure in the fact of, like, do I belong here? Am I still good enough? Is what I'm doing currently, is it affecting change in the world? Is it, and is it, looking at the preview for the season, I kind of feel like that's going to be the theme of the season, is really just her being insecure about who she is, where she is, and her growth. And then hopefully at some point she realizes, like, and accepts the fact that she is growing. As whatever pace that is, she's still growing. And again, like, I've said, you've said it, we are committed to growth. We understand that, in our faith walk, we always believe that, you're always going to continue to grow until you die, right? Hopefully, if that's what you want. But I even, like, again, I'm 36, and at this point, I'm always questioning, like, am I on the right path? Is it the right life I've chosen? Right? I have the nice house, and I have the nice car, in the corporate job, all the things that I wanted when I was younger, right? At the little Bryan was like, hey, grow up, this is what you want, right? Wife, kid, nice house, nice car, decent bank account. God has been good to us, right? But then even still, it's after I sit down and look at it, and, like, is that all? Is that really what life is supposed to be? Is this where I'm supposed to be long term? Again, like you said, the podcast, I enjoy this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so weird, and I think it's always searching for the next. But then sometimes we have to really, I think, sometimes embrace our now and celebrate our now.
Yeah.
Like, we're so busy, like, looking for the future, like, well, what's next? What's next? What's next? And we're not celebrating the now. The lifestyle I have right now, the old me would have been like, nigga, like, you made it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not really enjoying it. Right. And I'm not really started from the bottom, now we're here. And I'm not relishing in the fact of, like, nigga, we out here, like, Josh and I, like, we know our humble beginnings. You know what I'm saying? And right now we out here living. And so I think it's one of those situations where Issa has to look at her life, hopefully at some point, and be like, from season 1, I was in a terrible place. But now I at least have some type of vision. And I want to say something. Do you have something to say before I go to something that she said that was pretty cool?
No. Go ahead.
Okay. So she was talking about the fact that she feels like she has no control over her life. Everything in her life is being controlled by somebody else. She was like, I drive Lyft. They tell me where to go. And I guess I would ask this question: do you feel like that in life right now, or have you felt like that? Or
part of me does. Like, again, if I go back to my job situation, why I've landed what some would consider because even when I tell people what I do, people who know me was like, "Oh, Josh, that's perfect for you," because they know. So I work in the DE&I space, and part of my role is training on DE&I, and they was like, "Oh, that's your thing," and I'm like, "Yeah." Sometimes I love telling white people the ways in which that they're doing wrong, right, and how they could do better. I love that. But again, to your point, because I work in, I guess I don't know if you call it corporate America, because it's a nonprofit, but it's a major nonprofit. So so my job feels like corporate America. But, like, I still have a supervisor. I still have weekly check-ins that I sometimes roll my eyes at, right? I'm committed to these meetings and all these different things. So even with the flexibility of working from home, there is not this thing where I feel like, so I have control over, like, the podcast we have control over. This is our baby. Like, we're literally recording right now on a Sunday for an episode that's going to drop on a Thursday, right? so we understand how we can fluctuate, how we can make this thing work based on what we want to do. But like there's just certain elements in my life, like even with my kids, right? Like I love my children, but when I had kids, here's this thing we can talk about Lawrence later, is that, and Bryan, you can probably recognize this now that you're, 2 years in the game,
Yeah.
is that your kids now dictate a level of how you live life.
Oh yeah, every day.
Yeah, because there's like things my friends want to do, like workout class and stuff I want to be a part of. There's like some evening classes that happen because everybody know me loves I love working out. They're like, Josh, you want to come to this 7:30 class? Be like, no, my kids got soccer practice. Like I'm committed to soccer practice. Like, and now Ash is signing up for basketball. I'm committed to basketball, right? So I don't have capacity to do something to move in the way that I just would freely move, right? So to answer your question directly, yes, in some respects, I feel like I don't have control because there are so many other factors based on where I am in life that controls it's literally controlling my life. So even if I decide to do something, I'm restricted in a sense because I have to navigate it so I can still show up and give 100% over here because I can't give 100% in this area. And then get to my kids and my family and not give 100%, right? Yeah. So in some regards, just to have a lot of control. But Bryan, I guess the question is, as you continue to matriculate through adulthood, right? As we're figuring out life, when do we ever get to the point, maybe until retirement or whatever that looks like, that we actually regain, and for all the super saints, we're not discounting like the authority and the lordship of God, right? We know that that's a thing. Right. But in terms of free will and free choice, when do we really get to the point that where we have control, like we have full control over every aspect of our life?
You don't, unless you are like a Jeff Bezos, where you just have a buku amount of money and you literally can wake up and just do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
I think at that point, and I think he has like a wife too or something like that. So even still, like I think, divorce, yeah. And but he has like, yeah. So yeah, if you have to be 100% single and 100% rich to not have to deal with anything and really just dictate your own life. And do you think about that? Like, not to rethink life, right? But when Issa was saying, like, I'm on the right path. Like, did I choose the right path? Right? Did I choose?
Yeah.
Is the wife, the kid, the house, is the career I'm working? Is that the right path? Right? Because sometimes you're thinking like these things literally control my life. Right? If you are any type of husband that's really devoted or a father that's really devoted, like you said earlier, you put like your day you wake up, it's like, okay, so what does my wife need? What does my child need today? Before you even think about, like, in most cases, about like Josh, you're probably thinking like, all right, the boys got to do this, boys got to do that.
Yep.
I have my workout schedule, but I probably got to, if the boys need to do X, Y, Z, then I may have to.
I'm changing everything around. Yep.
Right. So, and it's kind of like, and sometimes, and I'm be transparent, and sometimes it's depressing. It's really depressing. The fact of like, I really have no control of my life, and I can't. When I wake up, it's serving. But
I think here's the key, and we talked about this tonight a little bit at the live show, is that when we talked about Lawrence and Condola, I think sometimes the way we disrupt that is to always choose us.
Right.
So even when you're married, even when you're a father, it is making the choice of, you know what, I'm your daddy, but right now I'm choosing me.
Right.
Right. I'm your husband, but I'm choosing me. And maybe choosing me means a no to, and maybe we can have a whole conversation on that one day, the power of no and what that means, especially as husbands and fathers. But right now, choosing me may be disappointing to you. But in order for me to continue to be the best of whatever you experience, I need you to receive this no.
Right.
And I think that's where Issa needs to get to. Like, maybe because as her business is building, like maybe there's a sacrifice that has to come. Like, is this lift money really worth it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So maybe this is a piece of control I can let go. Choose me so I can dedicate some time to this business. Because as in the previews, we see the block is taking off. She got an office space. It's like on the front of a building.
Yeah.
She's having
Instagram page.
Right. It seems as if that like she's planning for another big event. We see her with the executive assistant again, with the headpiece. Right. So like something's happening, right? So I think it's a matter of choosing the things, going back to previous episode, that no longer serve us, right? And prioritizing ourselves while
Right.
letting people know I'm not throwing you away, baby. But
Mm-hmm.
right now,
Mm-hmm.
I gotta keep choosing me.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I think the fact is, and I'm just like, I could be challenging to myself, challenge you, challenge all of our listeners. What are some things in your life right now
Mm-hmm.
that you can eliminate, right? That will allow you to choose yourself, or even put in a proper space, right? That would allow you or give you the opportunity to choose yourself a little more frequently. Like you said about the lift thing. Like she don't have to drive Lyft no more. That's one
She
thing in
ain't
your
got to.
life that you can get rid of. That's not controlling you. And
Because she's
I
clearly irritated with the apartment too. Because she said I'm still plunging toilets and controlling something for somebody else home. So I
yeah.
guess it's the block made enough money where 750, like you can afford more than 750. Because I think 750 was the rent for the property manager fee.
Hmm.
So can you afford more, right? And it's
Right.
about making that. Maybe if I pay more, my money might be tighter. But it's because I don't know about you, Brian, but I'm at the grown age where I'm paying for peace of mind.
Oh yeah.
I'm paying
Oh
for
yeah.
convenience and I'm paying
Oh
for
yeah.
peace.
Oh, easy.
So
If
if
I don't
that
want to do it,
means
I'm
that
not
I
doing it.
give up this job and I go from a $750 a month to a
Hmm.
$1,200 a month or $1,300 a month, then
Hmm.
that's just what if I got the money to do it, that just means that the budget somewhere else got to get cut.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm agree. I'm that person. And just the
Mm-hmm.
older I get in life, the more things of I don't have to do this. I can pay. I can afford to do this and have somebody else do it for me. By
I
all
think,
means.
and just side note, but related, when my lawnmower broke last summer
Hmm.
and I knew that we had money to pay for a lawn care man,
Hmm.
I said, I'm not fixing this lawnmower.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't like cutting the grass anyway.
Mm-mm.
So I'm
No.
just gonna pay this man $50, $60 to cut the front and back and trim. Like it's $60 every 2 weeks. And it's
Yeah.
just during the summer. Because
Oh
I think
yeah.
we got our last cut. We probably won't get another cut until spring. He may give us one more cut, just
Hmm.
depending on how the weather is. But beyond that,
Right.
this we're coming up on the end. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm just in
Yeah.
a space to where if you can afford it, make room for peace and convenience. I think Issa is inching up rather
Hmm.
to that space of determining what's realistic, what's feasible,
Hmm.
and I think we're going to see that in the relationships. And let's head there as we get ready to wrap up. We
Okay.
see at the very end, major spoiler alert. We
Uh-huh.
didn't even wait until the depth of the season. Her
Oh
and Lawrence
no.
broke up immediately.
Oh yeah. She said, to your point, I'm choosing me.
Yep. He dropped her off and said, I had time. But there's the thing. They got in the car, they kissed,
The
they were
kiss
joking and laughing on the way home, and she got out the car and said, I had time to think. And Lawrence
and
already knew. He said, I know.
hmm
Which means that he's been doing some introspection as well.
hmm
So again, I'm gonna ask the question again now that we've watched episode 1, Brian.
hmm
Do you think that the Issa and Lawrence story is over? Just
I
because
don't
it
know.
ended tonight?
I don't know, man.
Or is
Look,
this
I
a
guess
wrench in the storyline?
I think it's a wrench. And looking at the previews for the for those it's not a spoiler because it's the previews. I did see that there were moments where she was with Lawrence again, not necessarily together, but in settings where we were together, and she was looking at him like, "Oh, Lawrence, I miss you."
Mm-hmm.
But then also, it seemed like Kofi may end up being like a love interest. You know what I'm saying? To where,
Uh-huh.
so I'm like, well, maybe she, looks at Lawrence and sees Lawrence, but then now finds another dude who's different and may have something. I don't know. It's weird, man.
And
Yeah,
we also see that her and Nathan have a real friendship. And I
they
asked the
do.
question tonight, was Nathan's return foretelling? And everybody's like, nope, Nathan's done. But Nathan,
Yeah.
I think it's when we talk about this about friends and dating. We talked about how men and women can be friends, but it gets complicated when you've actually had a relationship and had sex. And I think
Mhm.
that's what makes Nathan's returns different because even though what they had was short lived, he
Mhm.
was the only long term, like serious relationship that she had outside of Lawrence.
Right.
And the fact that they're now building a friendship
Mhm.
outside of the sex and all, like, so they know sex is good together. They've experienced
Mhm.
it. They know
Right.
that they vibe. They've experienced it. Now that they're
Mhm.
building a friendship, right? It's like, is Nathan, is Nathan now another consideration? Because he seems as if he's gotten himself together. And I think
Right.
everybody deserves the grace to get themselves together. Whether you allow a person to come back into your space in the same capacity is a different conversation. But I think everybody deserves the space to get themselves together. And now that he has, and she's giving him access, right?
Mhm.
What does that mean for Nathan?
Yeah, and I
I
think
know
you may have.
Daniel's done, but what does that mean for Nathan?
Yeah, but I think you may have said this the other like tonight. I would say tonight, like in terms of uh, Nathan being a potential replacement for Molly, like in terms of
Mm-hmm.
another friend, like a friend who's like a good friend who in the season finale of the last season, it showed that he was there for Molly, not there for
Mm-hmm.
Issa. That is, excuse me, there for Issa, ride or die for Issa, even on a plutonic level. And then when he found out that she was talking to Lawrence, he was kind of like upset about it, but he was like, even at not even on some like I want to be with you, but also like you doing that again. So this like with this nigga, like you can do better than
Mm-hmm.
that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that might be a thing. So I think Nathan has a potential to be somebody. One of the friends of the podcast said tonight, he said he's Casper, can call him Casper. He's
Mm-hmm.
irrelevant.
Yeah.
But I think at this point I think Nathan has a possibility. I think Lawrence has a possibility. And I think for some reason they threw Kofi in there. I think he's gonna be I don't know what his character is gonna be called yet, but I know he's gonna be I feel like he's gonna be a another person in there who has the potential to get Issa's heart.
No, for sure. I'm not even. I don't disagree with that. I don't know if you go back to last week's episode. My season 5 predictions have not changed. I
Mm-hmm.
think tonight gives me perspective
Mm-hmm.
on how it may play out over the next
Right.
9 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that it has changed. Has any of your predictions changed, Bryan, as we wrap up the living room tonight?
No, I think my prediction was the fact that like I don't think Issa and Lawrence want to get together. Even though I was definitely
I
rooting for
think we
them.
both landed there.
Yeah, even though I'm always rooting for black people to get together, but I think it'll be so much for Issa to have the growth in terms of like not being down for the bull, and then say, "Well, I'll be a stepmom to the child." You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it's going to be like, regardless of if But and even if Lawrence says like, "Nah, I don't want to be the dad of this child," it's like, how can you be his girl and then not let him take care of a child? It's just to me, Lawrence's situation is too much, and I think our sisters from Sufficiently Black, I think it might have been Janae said it like, I don't want to see Issa have to go through like the black woman going through the drama. Like, why can't she just choose to be happy with somebody else, or have to accept being the baby mama, or not a baby mama, the stepmama, or something like that? Like, why can't she just be happy with somebody else instead of having to deal with Lawrence cheating on her, not cheating on her, Lawrence now having a baby with somebody else, and then be willing to accept that? Like, why can't she just go somewhere else and be happy? I think that's something that Janae said last week. But yeah, that's how I feel. I feel like I don't know. I feel like they may flirt with the idea, but I think something, if she thought about it, I think at some point she's not going back to that.
Gotcha. No,
Hopefully.
I agree. I don't think, again, I think I said it tonight, and I think I didn't say this before, but I said tonight during the live show. And we keep talking about the live show because y'all niggas missed it if you weren't there. But tonight, I think the fairy tale love affair that we see coming together is Issa and Molly.
Yeah.
And and whether you watch it or not, Girlfriends, I think, sets the tone for that. Like Joan and Tony were the fairy tale. Like that was the love story in essence. And the men in their lives is because they chose to have them. And we, kind of like to Janae's point last week, like I can be an independent woman and still want a man, but it is my choice. And I think that's what we're going to see with Issa. It is going to be her choosing herself. And maybe the episode ends kind of like, maybe season 5 ends kind of the same way season 4 ended. They go through this breakup and they're like, you know what, Lawrence, I do want you. And let's figure this out. And maybe that's how we're left. Like with them deciding to figure it out. So maybe we never get to see the love story, the fairy tale, but we do see them make definitive decisions. Because like I think, Bryan, you brought up tonight that Issa said that, when the show ends, these characters' lives don't end. Because, I mean, they're 30-some years old and they're not dying, right?
You're right.
So I think whatever we see, we're going to see definitive decisions. And we as viewers, we as fans, we as insecure people are going to have to live with whatever those definitive decisions are and just let it be. So unless Issa gives us a movie one day, but even in a movie, unless they all die, there's still room for speculation and hypothesis and whatever. Right. But anyway,
she said adamantly that she's not making a movie. She said after this season, that's it. There's nothing else, no sequels, no prequels. Well, she didn't say no prequels, but she basically said like, Insecure is done after this. Like,
Yeah, and that's fair. And I think it's great to end the story on a high note and just let it end and let it be. But no, bro, this has been an amazing 5 years or so, maybe 6 years. I think they took a year off that one odd year when she was doing movies and stuff. This has been an amazing ride. We're super excited. So while me and Bryan probably want to do a full recap and full Issa episode no time soon, probably until the season finale. You're definitely going to be hearing our takes every week as we watch it. Yeah. So look out for it in the billboard. Look out for it somewhere in the podcast. For everybody who came tonight, we love y'all. Y'all really, I don't think y'all know how much y'all encouraged me and Bryan. It was dope.
It was great. Great time. I think dope tonight. And this may be a lot, but I think it might be a decent idea. Is to invite some of our friends to have some of these insecure talks with us. I don't know. It might be a lot. But
insecure talks.
Yeah, because we had a great insecure talk tonight, and people had some great ideas, some great some great things. But I don't know. I think we can cut off offline.
So maybe we could discuss this right here. Maybe we go live on the pod on the IG or something, and then invite a few people in the room and trade out a few voices every now and then. Just kind of have some discussion. Maybe that's the idea, but I don't know. We'll work through it anyway.
We'll work through it.
We love y'all. We appreciate y'all.
We do.
That is a wrap. Good night, y'all.
Love you.